Hello everyone. So I thought I would do another one of these sit down chatty videos because I really enjoy filming these. And something I wanted to talk about today was just like how I actually spend my free time and how you could spend your free time if you are somebody who is living solo. Now, you don't have to live solo to do any of these things, but I think sometimes when I tell people I live on my own, I think they think that I've got an endless amount of time, but also I sometimes get this feeling where I feel like they might look at me and feel a little bit sorry for me or something like that. And I'm like, trust me, I'm having a great time. Like, I can spend so much time doing so many of these things. And I think being solo, I mean, don't get me wrong, there are like disadvantages to it as well. But I think one of the great things I really enjoy about living on my own is actually just the freedom that it brings to have the flexibility. So I've written down 7 sort of ways in which I like to spend my time living solo, but also in a sort of frugal chic way. So a lot of them are maybe low cost, low budget, but maybe quite like luxurious at the same time. So I've written these down and I'm just going to talk you through them. So the first one being my YouTube channel. So if you are living solo, I would say that you could start a YouTube channel or do something that's creative. I feel like this has been really transformative for my life and overall just sense of purpose. And I feel like it's given me something specific to work on outside of work, which I've been really, really enjoying. Can you believe that I have been on YouTube for 1 full year now? It's crazy. Like, that honestly blows my mind. I remember like the literal day that I uploaded my first video, and just like, I think the first video I ever got like had like 11 views on it, and I remember just thinking that the channel would just never grow or whatever. And the rate of growth has been much slower than what I thought it would be. And if I knew it was going to be this slow, I may never have started. But I'm so glad I did, because it's just honestly just like transformed my life in so many positive ways. And I feel like, especially as a solo person, I do feel like it helps with feeling connected with my audience. So I feel like connected to you as a community, but also I do feel it a bit more when I'm out and about just in the local area. Like, a lot of people now talk to me as a result of having a YouTube channel. So I really appreciate that, and it's something very creative. Before I go on to the next one, this was actually a point I was going to make in the introduction and it completely went out of my mind, but it's actually just in relation to that, is that I personally like to have hobbies that have flexibility. So I don't like hobbies where I'm like, okay, it's Tuesday evening, that means I have to be here at 7 p.m. Oh, it's Wednesday evening, I need to be there. Do you know what I mean? I don't like living that way. So all of my hobbies, I think all of them on the list actually, are things that I can do as and when I want to do it. So I can do a YouTube channel, sorry, a YouTube video any day, and even the next one I can do it any time. So it's not like, I don't really like groups, clubs, classes. I've tried this in the past and it just does not work for me. Like, I just don't like being tied down to things outside of my 9 to 5 job. Let me know if you're like that, if that's something for others. I'm not sure, but I just find whenever I do those types of hobbies, it just doesn't gel with me somehow. I can do it for a short period of time and then I just burn out with it. Right, so number 2 is, and I actually numbered them this time, so you'll be glad to know. Number 2 is joining a fancy health club. Now, as you know, in most of my vlogs, I'm at the Fairmont in some capacity. I really, really like being able to swim there. Swimming for me is just that thing that just really helps like with my mind. It gets me movement. It doesn't take a great deal of motivation for me to go for a swim. So if I was to say use it going for a walk in a similar way, I just feel like it would take so much of like motivation, whereas swimming, for some reason, I find it very easy to commit to swimming and actually just go regularly. I've put the word fancy down here because I do think it does make a difference going to a nice space. Now I know that's not going to be accessible for everyone, like geographically, but also just financially. So I totally understand that. But I do think it does make a difference being in a nice space, like an environment that I want to go into. What I think is great about a Fairmont membership is that included in that, I could go to like Pilates classes, I could go to the cycle class, or, you know, all these different ones, but particularly Pilates, because the reason I say that is that those Pilates classes, if you were to just go to like a normal Pilates group outside of this membership, they're about £10 per class. So for a Fairmont membership, my membership is around about, it's less than £100 a month. I'm not saying the exact amount because I get corporate discount because of the university, so I can't say the exact amount, but it's less than £100 a month. So for that, I get to go to Pilates whenever I want. I can go for a swim. I can use the sauna. I can use a jacuzzi. There's also discounts in like the coffee, and I think like even with the treatments and things like that. So, um, yeah, I really like that. Again, I like it because I like to see people there. There's people I've got to know through swimming that I always have chats with, or sometimes we might go for a coffee together or whatever. But I do like that I'm not having someone being like, where are you? Like, are you like, do you know what I mean? Where it's that like overcommitment to it. So I really like that part. And in actual fact, I'm probably am there most days anyway, but I just like the knowledge that I can just say, it's not for me today, I'm not fancying it. Right, the next one is one that I probably don't do as much of, but I would really like to do more of. And this is like accessing like the arts sector. So you can go to art galleries, museums. I also like going to the theatre as well. I don't do it as much as I'd like to, but it is something that you can do. It's like in a frugal way and use like public spaces like that. Like the portrait gallery in Edinburgh, my family really like that, and I sometimes go there and meet them. It is free to access, and it's just an amazing like space. Like the actual space, the artwork in there is incredible. So if you want something that feels like a little bit more elevated or a bit more luxury, but you're on a budget, I would definitely say like going to spaces like public galleries, museums, and also libraries as well. The reason I put libraries down here, because I'm a member of staff at the university, I've got my little swipe pass to get into the libraries, and there are occasions, especially over the autumn winter, where I go into the library and I'll maybe just work away in there over the winter months. And I do quite like having qualifications to work on over like the winter months. So about a year and a half ago, I did my coaching qualification, and I spent many of Sundays in the library. And there is one in St Andrews. It's like an old converted church, and it's just very, very like old style library and very romantic in there. So I like spending my time in there. Right, if you are a subscriber or you've been to my channel before, you will know this one. It's coffee. I like to go for my coffee. That is something that I like to do as a sort of solo person. There is nothing that brings me greater joy than just sitting, having a coffee, watching the world go by, and doing a bit of people watching, which is what I was doing today. I was actually down at Bow House today, so I do love going for a coffee. Now, what I will say is I do buy coffee from chain stores from time to time. You see me at Cafe Nero sometimes. But I do think it is quite nice to just buy them from like local independent coffee shops. So the other thing that you can do is also, if you think about coffee, it can be like the same price for like a Starbucks versus like sitting in a nice like hotel somewhere with a coffee, if that makes sense. Like coffee generally is about the same price in all locations. So be smart about where you choose to have your coffee. Like maybe just once in a while, just skip the standard Starbucks and go somewhere that feels a little bit more luxurious. Don't get me wrong, I like a Starbucks or a Cafe Nero or whatever from time to time, but just think about a nice space. The next one actually is it's about learning and doing courses. Now, I was kind of alluding to this earlier, but this type of course I'm talking about is not like to do with your work. It's not to do with your job. It's actually, a few years ago, I got quite into this, and it was using the Open University OpenLearn courses. And I quite like doing these because they take about an afternoon to complete, but you actually just learn about a completely different subject. And I like that they're university taught, so I feel like I can rely on that information being like correct and accurate. And they are free to do, which is absolutely incredible that you can just access information and learning like that for free. So I remember like when I did this, it was like I did one about art. It was a Peter Bushell artwork, and I think the painting was Icarus. And I remember like spending the whole afternoon just like learning about this and really getting into it. And I think if you've got like a rainy Sunday afternoon, or you're spending your time at the library, just doing an OpenLearn course. And I would actually on this occasion recommend it's not anything to do with your job. Like make it something that you would just not normally learn about. And for me, I quite like doing that with like art, history, even like classics as well. So just using OpenLearn, which is free. I don't know if you're out with the UK, whether you can access OpenLearn via the Open University or not. But if you are UK, or if you're residing in the UK, then do make use of that, because it's just great to be able to access that kind of thing for free. Like it's just like, wow. So they take usually about an afternoon to complete. Some of them are longer. Right, the next one, actually, this is one that you might have seen in my vlogs before, but it's actually making use of outdoor spaces as well. Now, it's no secret that I'm definitely more of an indoor cat, and I'm not a massive fan of being outside. Like, if someone says, let's go for a walk, I'm just like, I can't think of anything worse, quite frankly. But what I do if I'm like, right, we need to get outside, is actually use the outdoor basketball courts in my local village. And I quite like to just put on a podcast or an audiobook or even some music, and then just like literally throw like the ball into the basketball court, into the basketball hoop as many times as possibly can. And I actually just really enjoy that. It's just quite a nice activity for an hour or so. And you'll be surprised how many steps you get in whilst doing that, because I've had my step counter on before and I'm like, that's actually just as much as going for a walk. So I really enjoy doing that. So there are other ways in which you can access the outdoor spaces. Like the one I've got in my village has got like a little sort of outdoor gym as well. And then next to the basketball court is also like a tennis court. So you could, if you were taking a friend, like use the tennis courts as well. There are like skate courts as well, so you could use the skating or do some rollerblading. Or there's also one at Pitt and Weem, which is like where you can do the putting, so you could take your own putting. I actually know somebody who actually did this as a little thing they had going with someone for a while, where they would go out in the putting greens and take their own putting equipment. So you could do that as well, so make use of that space. And finally, this one is travel. Now, as a solo person, I have done many a solo travel over the years, and I actually really, really enjoy it. Don't get me wrong, I do actually like traveling with people, like friends, family, but I do actually also really enjoy a solo trip. The last time I went on a solo trip, I think I've been away quite a lot, especially with work, so it's hard to remember exactly, but I do remember going on a trip to France a few years ago, which I really, really enjoyed. And I went to Annecy, I went to Grenoble, I was in Lyon as well. And yeah, it's just quite freeing. There's something really, really freeing about, just traveling solo, traveling light, and just doing what you fancy as well. So if you are solo, honestly, like, trust me, there's so much things you can do, like, to fill your time. I think one of the things I would say is, like, try things out, but also be authentic to yourself as well. So don't feel like you've got to sign up to everything and anything. And I think that's one of the reasons why I don't always love signing up to groups and classes and things. I feel like it can feel a bit like contrived, whereas everything that I feel I've mentioned here can just fit into my plans for the day, and I could do it when I feel like it or whatever. So yeah, so that's just some of my little frugal chic solo travel and hobby tips.